All right, guys, it's time to talk about the St. Louis Blues. They just managed to scrape into the playoffs last season, literally with 96 points, equal with Calgary Flames, coming down to only one regulation win was the difference for them being in the playoffs and not, all the way to almost knocking out the Winnipeg Jets in game seven, had a lead, conceded a late goal, and well, you guys know the rest. Unfortunately, kicked out in 7 games against the Winnipeg Jets. Unfortunately, they showed some ridiculous grit, and that's what this team is. I think like it's just a team of grit and grind. Even when you think they're out, they can't make it. They somehow drag themselves to a playoff spot, and then almost to a second round. But yeah, like end of that season, we're on to the next season. So, Jaden, let's go through that projected lineup.
All right. Yeah, you're not wrong. This team reminds me a lot of like Washington Capitals in a sense. Moving on to the lineup, we got Brijnevich, Thomas, Snuggered, Holloway, Shen, Kairu, Neighbors, Suda, Dvorsky, Toropchenko, Bukestad, Joseph. Onto the D, Fowler, Pareko, Broberg, Falk, Tucker, Malou, and then in the goaltending, in the net, Bennington, and then Hofer. Um, Not too much in ins and outs, really. Just the Logan Malou, Baldock trade. Obviously, bringing in a young prospect in Malou to replace Krug is on the LTIR. Is probably like the big loss of the team.
Mhm.
In additions, in regards to free agency, bringing in Suda and Bukestad, just rounding out the forward line there, and obviously Malou being that depth to replace Krug. So all in all, not too much has changed for the team. I think they did lose Faxer as well in regards to forwards,
Mhm.
but yeah, all in all, not much difference. Not too bad. Issues with the D. I'm not too sure if you think they can replicate what they did last year in regards to playoffs. If they're stronger, if they're weaker, they've gotten some good trades in Holloway, um, and what is it, Broberg, and
Philip Broberg,
yeah,
the big offer sheets last season that came out and played absolutely unreal. I don't think I think everyone expected them to play well, but I don't think anyone expected them to do what they did.
nah,
Like Holloway's on $2 million and he put up 63 points or something, and Broberg was just unreal
it's what happens when you
defensively.
get minutes and you're allowed to play your game.
Mm,
So it's kind of one of those situations where it's good going to another team to get
yeah.
that freedom, and be able to play
And
more minutes.
that's what they'll be hoping with the Malo pickup. Obviously, a bit controversial when Montreal drafted him in the first place, but we've moved on a few years from that, and it looks like he's ready to sort of take that next step. So it'll be interesting because they're gonna need either going and getting another defender, or they're gonna need these two in Tucker or Malo or whoever, like whatever other young prospect they bring up. They're gonna need them to play some unreal hockey, or they're going to be depending on that top four to play ridiculous minutes per night.
Yeah,
Because
they
right
got a
now,
good top three. Fowler,
oh,
Pareko,
100%.
Broberg's decent. I'm not sold on Falk. I never really have been. Um, and he was the only really plus minus negative for the team last year.
I think if
And
you can limit his minutes and have him on that third pairing, like if you can have him at
yeah,
like
well
15 minutes a night, yeah.
that's what this team needs is another defender. Like the forward line's pretty decent. You could run that in any year. That's
Mm,
fine, especially if like Holloway and you know provides that same production. And same with neighbors, those youngsters
mm,
putting up over 20 goals and 40, 50, 60 points. But it's that decor. Like Bennington, you can run. I'm fine with that. It's they need another defender to really solidify this team to make sure like they are making the playoffs, and when they're in the
mm.
playoffs, they are going to get go deep. Because right now it doesn't really get it done. Uh, I know we were talking off air in the sense that like probably New Jersey Devils is the team that this organization should be going and knocking on the door to. Just
Mm.
regards to the amount of prospects and players on the D core they have.
Mm.
They Hamilton possibly wanted New Jersey wanted to trade him out. Seamus Casey, a young prospect, a possible Simone Nemec. Whatever New Jersey wants to move, this team, any of those players
Mm.
could come into this team and play top four,
Yeah,
and
and
and that's big key.
even if it's not one of those, like, because the thing with the Devils that they've got at the moment, I mean, Kovacevic is out. I think originally it was only supposed to be the first month, but I think it might now be until January. But with Kovacevic out, they've got 7 solid defenders that are gonna want minutes. Kovacevic comes back, that's 8. And all of a sudden it's like, well, what do you do? I know it's great to have that that depth and that backup, but they also added, I think, depth like Addison. They got a few other players that are going to be in the minors that can come up as well. They've got blue line depth, and players like Nemec, Casey, they're gonna want minutes, and if they're not in the lineup this year regularly, they're not gonna want to hang around because and Nemec sort of made that known last season. He was a little bit, aggro because he was going up and down. So it could be. I'm not saying that they're going to be cheap or anything, but it could be someone that they target because Nemec has proven that he can play minutes. He can play, basically a full season as well. And this team needs
Mm.
someone to
And as
come
your
through.
future, like a lot of those are, well, pretty much all of them are offensive defensemen,
Mm,
which is kind of like your future Justin Falk replacement.
yeah,
And that's your first line power play quarterback. I feel like that's what um, St. Louis should be doing. They should be talking to teams like New Jersey who have that, D depth. Um, do they have the players to offer? You know, you, you make those decisions and you work out those
yeah.
trades.
That's the hardest part
That's the
is
hardest part, but
putting
that's
that
for
trade
GMs to
together.
decide. But
Yeah,
like they do have draft picks. Obviously, for New Jersey, they don't really want that, but maybe another team. Um, don't you don't really want Eric Carlson for D, but there's another
I don't.
name you could
I don't
throw
think.
through.
I don't think he improves this D line, mate. Like
No,
I'm pretty
it
sure I'd rather run those 2
like
youngsters.
A Falcon Carlson is like the Carlson with Burns situation
Yeah,
in San Jose. I feel like, but
minus 30.
but I'm just saying like that's kind of what you want for this team is just
Mm,
another. Honestly, you'd probably want a top 2 D man, but top 4
mm,
is and if you're getting prospect, hopefully someone with the upside like a Seamus Casey, Nimitz,
mm.
or someone of that caliber. But
Yeah,
and
because
look, they've got the cap space. Like they could do a Dougie Hamilton trade, New Jersey eat 2 million, and that's their cap space gone, and they've got a
mm,
D man. And look, he fits in the same age range as basically half their D core as well. So
yeah,
yeah, I just think add that 7 mil whatever D man, and
they
this
need
team
something,
makes
don't they?
playoffs. And
Yeah,
I think this team like kind of solidifies playoffs. I think they'll be not even wild card. Yeah.
because they've got a really good. They've obviously got that top 4 relatively solid. I know we want Falk to move down, but they've got a really good goaltending tandem, Binnington and Hoffer. Um, I know Binnington can be up and down, but after the um, what was it last year? He played for Canada
Yeah,
and
the Canada.
the Four Nations.
Yeah,
That's
Four
the one.
Nations. That's right.
After
And
Four Nations, he was unreal,
mm,
and that's the sort of goalie he can be. He can be really good in stretches. Hoffer's been proven to be a very solid backup, potential to take over for starter. And their forward line, like their forward groups, are solid. I know it's got Snuggerud, it's top line right wing. I don't think that's going to be the case, but even you move him out down, they still have a ridiculously good top 9.
mm,
And could it get better? Yeah, of course. You could probably add
but it gets
a
the
middle
job
6
done.
forward, but it gets the job done. And I think this is definitely a team that I can see making playoffs. The thing I just don't want to see this team do is not do anything to that defense, and then Tucker, Malou, their other prospects just can't crack it, and they're having to play Fowler, Pareko, Broberg, Falk for 24, 25 minutes a night, and they make the playoffs, but those guys are just knackered. Like, you don't want to be playing these guys 25 minutes a night, so you can play your third paired defense line for 5 to 10. It's just too much to ask. So yeah, I want to see them shore that up, but that's about it. Like, outside of adding maybe another middle six forward, this team's pretty solid. It's got what it takes. It's just got to put it together. I think it's shown that it it's a bit of Jekyll and Hyde. They can be really, really poor, and then they can be one of the best teams in the league. You saw it again last season. Had a little bit of that 2019 about it, where it was just like they came out of nowhere. They were beating
Yeah.
everybody. They, were going on that stretch to obviously get them into the playoffs. And then their playoff run looked really good as well. But that's the issue with them, is that they can be really poor and they
Yeah.
can be really
They're
good.
missing like the all on out stars, the like game in,
Hmm.
game now out, like just playing top tier player level. I feel like
Hmm.
that's what they're missing. And then Bennington sometimes gets exposed because the D core maybe was missing a piece or two. And then you have Bennington sometimes being Bennington. So those two
Yeah.
kind of coalescing together. Um, but all in all, I like it. Add a D man, uh, just add a 7 mil D man,
Yeah.
and all your problems are kind of solved. Obviously, depending who you get. Eric Carlson's not really going to fix it, but I'm just throwing shade when I can. But yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it. I feel like this is probably one of the easiest teams that's not complete to
Mm.
complete, and because it's
Yeah.
really just one player. You can always, upgrade your depth forwards and stuff. Those are easy ones. D can sometimes be hard to come by. Pareko, Folk, they're right Ds. The other guys can play left or right. All in all, like, you're probably trying to look at for a right D to move Folk down to the third. Um,
Hmm.
but ultimately, I don't think it matters as long as you get a team in.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. 100%.
and I
But
think,
then, yeah.
and Bennington's played almost 60 games last 2 seasons, so I think he can run him back again. I think that's safe.
Yeah, I think Hoffer's good enough to sort of play a
Mm,
few more games anyway. Like, he's his last 2 seasons, 30 games and 31 at a 914 and a 904 last season. So
mm.
they've got a ridiculously good goaltending tandem. I think that defense just needs to sort of not get found out, and one of the big ways to do that is to not have to overplay that top four. I
Yeah,
mean, we could be wrong here, and
I was making
Malou,
sure Malou
Tucker,
or Kessel don't have to play 80 games. Yeah.
yeah, like, the Kessel, Malou, Tucker, those three combined could play some unreal hockey. They could provide you with 14, 15 minutes a night, and that could be enough. It's just a lot to put on three young prospects. So it'll be interesting to see, because Melo's only played 9 games in his career. I think Tucker played, what, 29 last season. Kessel played 30 last season. So yeah, it's just a lot to put on those players. Whereas, and I think if they
But
added a
yeah,
depth
but
piece,
ultimately,
yeah,
playoff run, you want that D depth anyway.
yeah,
Injuries, like what happened to Krug, etc. Like you need
hmm,
that D depth. So even if they do play out of their minds, I still think they need a D man just to make whoever's getting that 6D spot, they're fighting for it and they're earning it. It's not just you're kind of the best of the bad situation.
yeah,
Um, and that's really what solves this team. I really do think that propels them from that wild card hunt run to just solidified top three.
mm,
Because ultimately, I like the rest of the team, and we know they can go on runs.
yeah,
Uh, and then we know what they can do in playoffs too. So this could be a scary team if they actually make a really good move. Which is
exactly.
actually kind of
And
crazy. That division's crazy enough as it is.
the division is ridiculous, and this is probably one of the hardest things for this Blues team, because I think if you took this Blues team and you pulled it out and you put it into the Pacific, or you put it into the Metro, this would probably be a top three side. Um, and it's wild in saying that because they were the final wild card spot last season. But that's just, you're going up against Avs, Stars, Jets, who were unreal. Then you've got the Minnesota Wild. You've got teams coming up like the Utah Mammoth, who are looking like they're gonna
Nashville's always a
be
wild card.
a team. Nashville, who knows how they're gonna bounce back. That Central Division is just so strong that St. Louis could be one of the better, like they could be a top 16 team easy and miss the playoffs.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
The division's kind of them bloodthirsty. What is it they call it in like football and stuff, like the group of death. So
yeah,
it's kind of how it is for them. But at the end of the day, this is a good team. They can do it. They've proven it. Um, they have the money to solidify. They have draft picks to move. Like everything's lining up essentially, and there's no real bad contracts on the team either. Highest paid like 8 mil. Like that's
no,
you take that every
exactly.
day of the
They've
week.
they've
So
done it really well. Their
mm,
age group is quite solid as well, 27, 26.
yeah,
They're
average
pretty
age
much
around
mid.
28. There's a couple like half their D core is 33 in a sense 33, 32.
Yep.
Um, and then a couple Braden Shin's 34, Bukestad 33, but that's just your depth. All in all, like they're in their prime. They're going for it. You can't sit on 7 mil. I'm thinking just because the amount of decor that New Jersey have, they're like that's the perfect type of team to go for. And
Yep.
hey, you're having issues with Luke Hughes. Let's make your situation let's make your situation a little bit worse,
well,
or maybe
well, if
easier. You know.
if Luke Hughes wants $9 million or whatever it's saying, and they've only got 6 million, well, they need 3 million in cap space. Hey, New Jersey, St. Louis, we'll help you out. We'll
We'll
get
take
you that three
we'll
mil
take
that you need.
yeah.
Just
We'll take
just hand
Dougie.
us over.
You retain just a little bit or something, or
Yeah, and then you can sign Luke long term, or hey, we might take Brendan Dillon or something like that.
mm,
Um, there's options there, and New Jersey's the first one that comes to mind because of their current situation with their D core, but there's a lot of other teams in
yeah.
similar positions that you could target. That's how they got Broberg, like they went and targeted the
And
Oilers.
just go back to the Oilers. I don't think you really
Yeah,
want deep men from the Oilers, but just go back to the.
yeah, I know, right? But like, yeah, you just target someone that, hey, you can't afford this guy. We'll give you something, and then turn him into what they did. But
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's really the only sort of issue I can see with them because they've got really good depth. Nathan Walker's not even in that projected lineup, and he's been
Mm.
he's been fantastic for them as a depth player. I don't think he's ever going to play like 80 games, but last two seasons he's played 56 and 45. That's what you want from a depth player. Um, and they've got those players all up and down the lineup. They've got Oscar Sunquist as well, who's going to play his
Yeah, it's the
60
same. Yeah,
games.
like they've got depth in the forward line.
Hmm.
I don't think the forward's the issue at all. I think it gets it
No,
done. I think they score enough. They got a good mix of physical to skill. And same on the decor. Like it's not overly crazy. Like oh, you got too many offensive D men or something like that. It's really like Justin Folk's the one that sticks out. Like oh, that's a little bit of a liability. And
yeah,
it kind of shows with everyone being like a plus 20, plus minus, and then he's a negative 9. Um,
yeah.
it kind of shows in that sense. But all in all, like it's really easy to fix. You got a great goaltending tandem. It's sad to hear about Krug, if he is done for the rest of his career or not.
Yeah,
Um, which is something we haven't really harped on enough. How key players like that can set you back because obviously a Krug sitting in there really does help round out the decor a lot more.
yeah.
Um, but I do think even with Krug in there, something needed to change.
Mm,
Just a little bit, like a maybe that at that point you're trading Folk or something like that.
yeah.
But all in all, it looks really good. This team looks competitive. They've got a lot of their players signed long term, at least a lot of their core, a lot of their
Hmm.
depth, 1 to 2 years. But all in all, it looks really good for St. Louis, not just for this year, but for the next, 3 years. Um, you know, around about there, because
Mm.
a lot changes in those time.
Yeah,
And yeah, I feel like they're just also getting good at the same time that all the other people are getting good in their division, which is the sad
yeah,
part.
that's the hardest thing for this team. I feel like they're just missing something, just that little something to
Yeah.
elevate them into that
You look at the Avs
as
team, Dallas,
stars.
Jets. You need like that firepower or
It,
stardom
there's
that
just
they
something.
have. Yeah.
Yeah,
Th-
there's just something that they need to take them to that next level, and they might it may come across it this year. Holloway, maybe he takes another step forward and becomes unreal. Broberg really steps up again and just shows that he's a number one pair defenseman. They've got those young lads that have a chance, and then you get more out of Kyrou Thomas. And who knows? Jake Neighbors comes across and turns into what people he can be. There's a chance for this team. They're just not. I think they're a fantastic side, and I think they're going to be that playoff wild card spot. But they're just missing that something, and it might not even need to be added outside of that defensive piece, unless Malo and that can step up. But yeah, it's almost like you need like three or four players just to go to that next level, and then all of a sudden we might be talking about these guys, how we talk about the Avs and how we talk about the Stars.
Mm,
Um,
yeah, they're not far from it at all. But yeah,
hmm.
let us know in the comments what you think of the St. Louis Blues, their prospects for this year and in the future. How do they fix this team? Do you agree with us on the decor topics? And yeah, don't forget to check out our other content in our other previews. But yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below. But till next time, we'll catch you guys.
See you guys.